call the city council, the Salt City Council meeting to order Monday, October 11th, 2021. Please rise and join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Second.
Here.
Dean.
Here.
Leo. Lewis. Peterson. Here. Trester.
Here.
Stanton. Here.
Council people persons, Lewis and Leo. Part of notice. To accept that. Second. Okay. All in favor of the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Oh. Moving on, next order of business. We have 2 meeting, 2 minutes, meeting minutes approved. Here will accept a motion to approve the regular city council meeting minutes from September 27th meeting.
I move we approve the regular city council meeting minutes of September 27th, 2021.
We have a motion by Peterson, seconded by Stanton, to approve the September 27th, 2021 meeting minutes. Corrections, discussion. If not, all those in favor of the motion say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? None opposed, so carried. Our next minutes to approve are from closed session meeting of September 27th, same meeting date. On the desk, you have a copy of those minutes, confidential. Please take a moment and review them. Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the minutes. Okay, motion by Trester, seconded by Peterson to approve the closed session meeting minutes. All in favor of the motion say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? No opposed. So, would you please initial the minutes and we'll return for the clerk. You seal the medical seal down on everything. Okay, we're all set there, Kate?
Yes.
Okay, Mayor's comments. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the passing of Margaret Peggy Boyce. For those of you who knew Peggy or who did know Peggy, she was a real grand dame of the city, village of Saugatuck and the city of Saugatuck. I was fortunate enough to be back door neighbors with Peggy when I was and her family growing up. It was quite a brood with all the voices and Duckins sharing the back fence. As you know, Peggy was very instrumental in establishing the local art fairs. A renowned artist in her own right. Raised 7 children, I believe. Won the Mrs. Michigan pageant in the late 1950s. Later in life, went back and got a degree, taught high school art at West Ottawa, got a master's in, I believe, art studies, and also as an instructor at Grand Valley State. Quite a background and history. She was extremely instrumental in developing the Saugus Center for the Arts, and served the city well on the original historic commission, and I think served many years on our historic commission. Her daughter Linda was a long-term council person here in Saugerton, and unfortunately, Linda is recovering from a very serious stroke at this time. But anyways, it's important, I think, to acknowledge passing of one of our real key residents.
Mr. Mayor, she was also picked Citizen of the Year, and I was able to work with her on that. She was quite a lady.
Thank you very much. So, and Boy's family, historical family. Her family goes back to pretty much the founding of the city or shortly thereafter. So, quite a life that great lady lived. So, moving, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes their mayor's comments. City manager comments, Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. City manager's report is on page 7 of your packet. First item is the clerk position, and I will request that you make an agenda change to allow me to authorize a position to a new candidate, Mrs. Jamie Walters. So I can talk a little bit about her when we reach that agenda item. In the charter, it does require that the city manager get approval from city council to hire that position. So that's why I'm requesting the agenda change. Again, I'll talk about that when I get to that agenda item. Other than that, the report's in your agenda packet. Happy to discuss any of the items within.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry to say this, but it's better practice not to change the agenda. It's because it's not been published, so that the public is aware of what we're discussing. As an alternative, Ryan, could you handle this during your comments now? I mean, then it wouldn't be in a separate agenda.
We still have to approve it. And if we don't approve it tonight, we'd have to wait 2 weeks, which would keep the clock from ticking. So it came up Friday. We had a discussion on it. We probably could have amended the agenda then, but was more or less decided today to remove the section.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with your the position of the past practice of the city. And there was an attempt to amend the packet. And, you know, one of the things I don't like to do as city manager is send out too many amended packets, given that the interviews were pretty late during the week or midweek. It was pretty quick and coming. And reviewing it with the interim clerk, Cindy, this was her recommendation to amend the packet at tonight's meeting. So if you're uncomfortable with it, I would recommend a special meeting. Your call, Mr. Mayor and Council.
I don't think it's unprecedented, Ken. I think it's a bad practice to get into, but I think that basically, given the fact that we have a vacancy in the city staff, and we can get the clock moving. In 2 weeks, she could be sitting downstairs as opposed to 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And so,
all right. If no one else objects, then I'll withdraw my.
Okay, so I think there is consensus that we'd rather get you know.
Yeah, I would like to have that noted someplace, because I don't think we want to make that a regular practice.
Yeah, I agree.
Mr. Mayor, yes, my comment on that would be, and I appreciate Tim bringing it up, because this is something we don't normally do. This is something that Ryan is in charge of, as administration, and so it's not something that I would see causing that much concern with people not knowing that it's there. I think the public would have any input in it.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, in fact, I'm surprised to see that in the city charter that council has to approve this position. Typically, it's a position that's approved by the city manager. And I think my previous hire was not approved by council, so that was a mistake. Obviously, it was in the charter, but I would recommend at a future council meeting to take that out of the charter and allow your city manager to make a full hire in that position without reviewing it with council.
I'll give supporting evidence or documentation of the continue with that. Scott, do you have any opposition for?
No, I'm with I think the majority here. Let's get it done.
Okay. All righty. Anything more, Ryan?
No, unless there's any questions on the city
other items?
manager's report.
Manager's report. Okay. Moving on to next item, which happens to be agenda changes. So I'd like to recommend council amend the agenda adding item 5B, city clerk discussion and appointment. Have a motion for that effect, please.
You can do that as long as nobody objects.
So if there's no concern, I'll take that. No further discussion or comments. Unanimous consent.
Did you say 5D or 15D?
I have it as 15D.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item. Guest speaker, Lieutenant Hensfield, Walmart Sheriff Department. He's here on the day off. Just can't.
We participated in the Rock and Walk with all the Minnesota Interschool kids that came over on Friday this week and handed out a bunch of backpacks and so forth. Pretty fun to do, see all the kids from the elementary school and all the parents and so forth do that at high school. Other than that, it has been pretty quiet. So, any questions?
Consolation for Lieutenant. All right. Thanks for taking time to reschedule. Join us this evening. Next, we're scheduled, or at least it's on the agenda. Sutter Township Fire District, but I think that's not a normal. So we'll pass on. I don't see anybody from the fire district here. Public comment. Like we have two opportunities to address council. You can address council now.
And I know what I'm talking about was not on the agenda, so should I wait? If you want me to do it now.
Yeah, I mean, you use council. Yeah, you can do that one if you want, especially if you don't want to stay to the other agenda items. So we'll make that
Thank you.
Oh, you know the routine, please identify yourself.
Yeah.
Your residence.
Thank you.
One of the young children. As we know, every 10 years, the state goes through reapportionment, and we're doing that now after the vote in 2018 for statewide. But at the same time, every 10 years, each county goes through their own redistricting effort. And I don't know if you know, but Allegheny County is going through that redistricting now. I'm very concerned because we currently have 7 districts that are 7 county commissioners, and that's shown on the top map here. But they are voting on reducing that to 5 county commission districts. They're both like commissioners. That's in light of the fact that our population, total population of the county, has increased by 9,000 people in the last 10 years. And so, to me, we should actually be dividing it into more districts rather than less. And if you actually dive in and look at this more closely, that map at the top, we're currently in District 1. So Dean Cappy, our commissioner, represents about 15,000 people. If you look at the second map, that's how they're trying to redraw it. And we would be in District 2 now, the green map. And our coverage area would go all the way over past Hopkins. And if we run to the nearest 1,000, let's say, that district would then cover 25,000 people. So that would be an increase of about 10,000 people that each county commissioner is representing. So I think we probably don't get enough attention over here as it is over on the Lakeshore. And with diluting that, this is really gonna, I think, cause a problem for us here in Saugatuck, Douglas, and Saugatuck Township. To further complicate this a little bit, kind of like we brought up about what's on the agenda and deviating from that. They had a meeting September 21st. They voted not to consider a 5-district map. And they came back on the 28th and they had an agenda where they were only going to discuss 7- and 9-district maps. When they came in, they changed their mind. No discussion of those, only of a 5-district map, and they voted it in that day. So, which to me is a clear violation of the Open Meeting Act. Because nobody, as you said, can have a right. Heads up, you don't have anyone to talk about. So they did vote on it that day, but due to some procedural questions, I guess, they have to wait 30 days after they get the census data, but they have to vote on it before 60 days. So the question is, when does this clock begin? Will the state got the census data, or will they send it to the clerk? And so therefore they voted on this on the 21st, but it might have fallen before the 30 days. So they're going to re-vote on it on October 20th, which is a week from Wednesday at 9 a.m. So I will be there, and I'm hoping that if you're concerned, you will be there to talk about not only this 5-district map, but that we want at least a 7-district map. By the way, just for some context, they do this every 10 years. The one prior to this, we actually had 11 county commissioners, and at one point we had 13. And just so you know, at one of the meetings, there was only 2 public comments. They were all current county commissioners. One of them was our own Dean Cappy, and he said that we should stay at 7 and that it was working well. And Mr. Story, I forget his first name, was the other county commissioner. He also said that they should stay at 7. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing. They don't seem to have a lot of reasoning for this. It seems like something is going on behind closed doors that they never show. So I will be there on October 20th telling them I believe that we should stay with a 7-district map. That doesn't mean it will be the same exact one next year. And that they really should not revote on the 5-district. So that's it. Thanks.
Can I ask a question? Sure. Would it be beneficial if the city would take a stand?
I believe that would be fantastic. And I'm going to go to the Douglas. I'll go to the Douglas Council meeting, and I think next week they meet on the alternate Mondays. And I'm also going to find out what the township needs, and I'm going to go do the same later. So I think if we show that strength from this whole area, we could possibly make a difference.
And the next meeting is when they vote.
When they vote, October 20th, it's at the top of the handout I just gave you that shows the time, the day, and the place. Yep. But I don't know if you could vote on that tonight or do a resolution because it's not on there, but again, it's kind of the same problem. We don't have
We don't need to go to. Yeah, adequate research in here from our county commission.
Well, you could write it individually as council, express a concern.
I could be meeting Kathy.
Yeah.
I think the information's on the website. No, it should be.
I think that would be good because, you know, as you pointed out, our connection with the county is not all.
I will have a letter to the editor, hopefully Scott had it, and it will be in the commercial record this week, kind of relating it to the crash quarter. you know, it's up to Allegan County, we can't seem to get their attention, so if we're to move it even more, we're really not going to be able to get their attention.
One more question, if we officially did a letter, we could go to this address.
I think that's just where the meeting is now. Bob Janewski, who is the clerk, is also on this commission, because it's not the county commission that does this redistricting, they have a different commission, but he is on it, he's the county clerk, so I think if you send it to him, they will get it. Yeah. There's very little information if you go look on the Allegan County website. You can really have to dive into it. It's not under public notices. I think we're trying to hide it. It's under the elections tab. And even there, they only put public notice of the meeting. There are no agendas and no minutes. Another point of concern.
One last question. Can you send through the city manager some examples of letters in support of the 7 district model?
What if
you send to the manager? He could flag it to the council, and perhaps the council members individually can decide if they want to or don't want to mirror that language.
I just look for some more information.
Great, yeah. That's
well, thanks for listening. I hope this was really helpful.
All right, thank you. Closes our public comment portion of the meeting. We have no consent agenda. Next order of business is tables. Brian?
Well, Mr. Mayor, the accounts payable is in your packet. I would recommend motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor. I move we approve the account payable amount of $87,642.
second.
Motion by Peter, second by Stan to approve accounts payable as presented. Any questions or comments?
Question?
Yes.
I think I know the answer to this, but the check register shows like $3 million. In the past, we had all been on the accounts payable list. The pages prior to the accounts payable list.
And what then the answer to your own question?
No, maybe Peter's the only one that can answer it, but I can see $3 million in taxes that we passed through are not payable. It used to be, but I'm just curious as to why they wouldn't be.
Happy to follow up, Mr. Mayor, if you'd like.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to stand in the way of approving the tables, but I'd like to know why we're, you know.
Questions? Here, unless they were approved at last meeting.
We have, yeah.
You know, then, for instance, the last meeting, whenever it was September 27th.
Yep.
Then you see on September 27th, we approved accounts payable, and then somebody would pick it out of the section.
I'll follow up. Send on the email.
So we'll assume that it's something, you know, explainable.
Let's hope so.
That's where.
Yeah. Is it do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the accounts payable the last meeting was 1.6898 million. So it doesn't square up. Would like to know why.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do some math and get back to you all.
So I'll favor the motion, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, not opposed. So carried. Do you have any ordinances or public hearing? No. Move on to action items. First item, Campbell Road bid selection.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is on page 46 and 90 of your packet. A rare thing these days, we had a bid come in less than the estimated amount that the engineers had predicted. So this is for the Campbell Road project, which involves some water service lines, new roadway improvements, a little widening of the shoulders. This is a shared cost with the city village of Douglas. And so the estimated amount that came in, we received 3 bids. And the low bid, parent low bidder, was $730,263.75. And we share that again with the city village of Douglas. And we're actually accounting for, rather than doing a 50-50 split, we kind of dive in a little deeper than that. We're accounting for each water service, we're splitting that up a little bit in hopes that someday we might be able to recover some of the costs for water service. We're not sure that we will, but we're still under that mandate from the state of Michigan. So there is still hope out there. So the recommended motion is to approve the bid from Southwest Transport Company of Hartford, Michigan, in the amount of $730,263.75, of which the city's share is $319,123.75, and to allow for a 20% contingency on the project.
Motion regarding the manager's recommendation.
I would move to approve Southwest Transport Company of Hartford, Michigan, in the amount of $730,263.75, of which the city share is $319,123.75, and allow for a 20% contingency on the project.
Second.
A motion by Trester, seconded by Dean to approve recommended motion on Southwest Transport Company on the shared project with Douglas. Any further comments or discussion? And I'll give them maybe. I have seen their trucks over there driving around the neighborhood. Looking at their strategies. It's going to be an interesting project.
This is kind of a question for me, because I don't quite understand. At what point are these, is it going all the way to the house, or does it go to, and then is the homeowner responsible for you that?
So in regards to the water service, yes, the water service would start from the water pipe in the under the street and would go all the way to the house, and there is no shared costs. So it would be the responsibility of the city to bring that service to their home.
Okay, and then will that correct the land part too, that they're putting money away for that, supposed to be somewhere, but that might be the money you're talking about.
Yes, that's the money I'm referring to. So yeah, the lead service, and Scott, you're pretty familiar with this, so please feel free to jump in. But yeah, we're still under the state mandate. Yes, they're looking at funding to help with infrastructure. It's still not approved by the state yet, and federal funding coming down. So again, that's why we want to track these costs very carefully in hopes that we can recover some money in the future state.
No, Ryan's characterizing it correctly. The state's new lead copper rule prohibits partial lead service line replacement. You can't just take it as far as the municipality's kind of division. You have to do the complete replacement all the way down.
Yeah, for those services that are galvanized. So they're not just going to reduce that. But the galvanized has to be replaced.
Correct.
Otherwise, not rid of their house. I had replaced my service not too long ago. All of the curb stop. So from the curb stop to my house, moved half of it. But from the road to the curb is gooseneck and galvanized. So that's the only, I believe we talked about. Really, that's the only much as we'll have to get in my particular service.
Ouch.
But this is expensive, and I brought this up in discussion with the engineer. This is a 20-year project. It hasn't been funded yet. I think maybe some of the bigger cities might have gotten some funds. So. But what happens to the responsible communities who are following capital improvement plans, doing these types of projects? And while you're in there, turn on the road wide open again, replace all this stuff. So we're doing it responsibly. Hopefully, our legislatures will see the wisdom behind that. Let us have some of that reimbursable expense as well. But we're hoping good things to talk about with our representatives the next time they ask visit.
Yeah, and as an additional detail, we're doing directional boring for these service lines to these homes so that we don't interfere with too many trees. So, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful trees in that area. So we're going above and beyond to make sure there's very little disturbance to the homes, to their property, to their landscape. And it remains an unfunded mandate to the state of Michigan.
Yeah, I think the last stuff they had $160,000 to the front door, well over $100,000, right? To the cost of this
water service.
Yeah. And so that's going to have affecting just the upfront cost of this project. But a lot of the funds we plan in the future for road improvements because we're going to have to factor that cost in. So
yeah, Maple Street, Park Street, Butler Street.
We have our amount of services in Douglas House because a lot of our system has been replaced. You may know the date, but I think I was told that letting copper was outlawed like in 1976 or 72 or something. So any service, new service, or new hookup since the mid-70s, they couldn't go right in. And so, and we put on a lot of water projects that replaced the lead use next. So
yeah,
calculations and calculation for the engineers. I don't know exactly what it is. But it's just something we got to deal with. Any more questions, comments? Yeah, roll call then.
Truster.
Yes.
Dean.
yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Gannon.
Yes.
Brecken.
Yes. Motion passes unanimously. It's probably because you're right in the outside my front window, so you get your ride.
Set up a webcam outside.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. Planning zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is on page 51 of your packet. And a little background on this. With some of the projects that are coming up for the city, and I predict there's going to be some more high-profile projects, I think it'd be wise at this point to bring on some additional assistance through the help of a planning and zoning consultant. And they can help with the approval process. And we'll just use what I would plan to use it for is on a case-by-case basis, right? Not a day-to-day review, but again, some of those higher profile projects, especially with some of the waterfront development that we have going on currently. And then I predict there's going to be some more. So recommended to the city was Horizon Community Planning. I think this came up with council probably 4 or 5 months ago that I had planned to onboard when we were talking about onboarding new legal counsel. I talked about bringing on new planning consultant at that time. So finally got around to doing that or recommending that. And check the references. And our current legal counsel has experience working with this particular consultant with some other areas of the state. So they're very comfortable with this particular gentleman. And to be clear, David Jurassic, he's the principal planner and owner. So it's kind of a one-man band, but he does bring on other consultants as needed if he has a bigger project that he's working on. The fee, $120 an hour. I think that's a very reasonable fee. You know, one of the other options would be using legal counsel to do this type of review, but that would be a little bit more expensive. So I would recommend going with this firm. Horizon Planning, I did provide a link. I don't know if you had an opportunity to review his experience or not, but the recommendation would be to approve an engagement letter with Horizon Community Planning.
Mayor,
Yes.
move to approve engagement letter with Horizon Community Planning.
Okay, motion by Dean, second by Stan to approve the recommended motion to hire Horizon Community Planning. Are you going to allow, you mentioned, I would assume that the planning commission can look upon this as unfettered access, someone who's a support them is going to be as needed. I'd like to see the planning commission kind of depending more and more on this. I guess you could just kind of play it by ear.
Everything runs through staff, and really this is just another tool in the toolbox for staff to utilize as needed. So again, we have something that's complicated come up. You know, it's up to staff to tap into this consultant to utilize their assistance.
I don't think this is budgeted line item for this. Sarah's
no, it does not. So
Peter's going to have to do some sort of amendment.
Correct.
Yep. That has to be on the hours you're going to have this rest of the fiscal year. Okay. All right. Any further questions?
It just seems to me if they're more cost effective than using the attorneys, yet the attorneys are familiar with their work and have endorsed their work, it seems like a sensible path forward for us.
That's appealing to me. That's recommendation.
Indeed.
As long as we're prudent in how we use them. Not to replace our winning department.
No.
Okay, if there's no further question, all those in favor of the motion say yes.
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 Opposed, unopposed, so carried. Moving on, start the high school homecoming parade from the approval. That's self-explanatory.
This is a fun one, huh? Mr. Mayor, we talked about this. Not sure when the last parade was.
Well, I know you didn't put out a nice.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, it's
Brutal.
We had a graduation parade 2 years ago.
Yeah. They used to call it snake. It was a snake dance. It's kind of what they were doing.
snake dance.
Yeah. But this is just sort of a homecoming pre-game celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they did floats.
I think they plan to do floats. Kate, do you have any other details you want to add?
The student came in and dropped off the application. They said they're thinking about doing floats. So there might be some kids on floats and they're trying to get the fire department to be a part of the parade. And it would be maybe like 20, 30 minutes tops.
Fun.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
motion to approve the parade permit for Saugatuck High School for homecoming on Friday, October 22nd.
Second.
Okay, motion by Stan, supported by Dean to approve the motion. As presented, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? None opposed. So carried. Next agenda item, city clerk discussion and appointment. Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So city received numerous qualified applications for the clerk position. City staff, which included myself, Peter, Cindy, sat down with three of the applicants. And by unanimous decision, we would like to offer the job to Miss Jamie Walters. And I sent out information about Jamie to council, resume and cover page. She's born and raised in Saugatuck. I know that she worked at Glicks here locally for a number of years. Came with some pretty strong accolades as far as references. And so what I plan to do is, upon council approval, offer Jamie a job. She can start within 2 weeks, and plan to hire her within range. She has a lot of professional management experience, mostly in the retail sector, but currently working for an insurance company. So she's pretty accustomed to data entry and some of the more kind of clerical work that comes along with the position. So that's not going to be foreign to her, and it's not a turn off as far as that goes. So I feel really good. I think she's going to be great for the city. So I would encourage the council to allow me to make the hire.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Okay. And
To offer it to Jamie Walker?
Walters.
I'll second.
second, motion by Peterson, seconded by Dean, to offer the, well, I guess to approve the appointment of Jamie Boris Walters as our next city clerk. No Jamie, since she was just a she graduated the same year as my daughter, Amy. Stratford, stepsister. Katie, so there's a question there. Yes.
Will Jamie be here in time to oversee the election, or what's the plan for that?
Thanks for asking. So Jamie will be here just in time, I think like the day before.
The week before, I think.
The week before, to be a warm body in the building. So she won't have the clerk certification. So with that, we have Kate, who went to her election training on Friday. And yeah, so she's working on getting her certification to assist.
Yeah, I went to Lansing Friday. It was an all-day training, election official accreditation. I just have to take an exam and I should be set.
So that'll be great, you know, to have Kate trained and then helping Cindy and then have Jamie downstairs to help out.
Yeah, that's mine. Kate and Cindy will be up here running the show. We're open for business downstairs.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to bring Patty in again. Anyways, I'm really pleased with the fact that she can start so quickly, and super pleased that Kate is willing to take her training, get certified. Yeah. And I know the motion on the floor is for the hire of Jamie, but I also will mention that I just recently did Kate's evaluation with absolute glowing reviews. So she's been outstanding for the city, just tremendous.
Roll call, please.
Yes, Peterson.
Yes.
Dean.
Yes.
Stanton.
Yes.
Dresker.
Yes.
Beckett.
Yeah. I can't pass up this. Whether you needed my wife, she'd be there at your beck and call.
Wow.
Okay, moving on. There is second opportunity for.
Oh, we did. No, man. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, so no public in the audience to comment. At this stage, we'll be going into a closed session. Brad, can you close the doorway down? You should have never stand up.
That'd be good.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So entertain a motion, go into closed session.
Yes, please.
Motion to go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268H of the Meetings Act. The city will enter into closed session to consult with its attorney.
Second, support, second.
Okay, motion by Stanton, seconded by Dean, to go into closed session. Then I'm asking to close the open session.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Stanton,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Truster,
Yes.
and Beckon.
Yes, we have to shut down the machines to make sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do that.
We leave the meeting, I believe.